Yeah, America.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck your ass!
Hey, Macklemore. I'll help you pack, bitch. Don't you love it when liberal celebrities expose themselves for being anti-American fuckwits? I used to like you too when I was a kid, Macklemore. You fucking piece of shit.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Quite honestly, I think Macklemore has been irrelevant in the music scene since 2014. I mean, I haven't heard this guy come out with an album, a song, and if he has, they're pretty shit because they haven't cracked that Billboard 100 in quite a long time. Can someone tell me a song past 2014 that's even remotely good or was on radio from him at one point? Ladies and gentlemen and they, thems, and z's, welcome to another edition of Reffert Report, where we never surrender and we always debunk mainstream media lies and combat online free speech censorship. Welcome to the video. You just seen Macklemore be anti-American as can be because he's a Hollywood liberal piece of shit music artist. And I guess we're going to get to our main part of this video. I was watching J.D. Vance, his interview on ABC, after someone from the MAGA Warriors told me about it. I had to go check it out, and I really could not believe Martha Raddatz whenever she was trying to correct Trump on Venezuelans taking over Aurora, Colorado. This is all she had to say on her correction, and I was absolutely amazed.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
What a fucking dumbass!
Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much.
You like that? You like that?
J.D. Vance, that whole entire interview, wiped the floor with that bitch, especially because she said, there's only a handful of incidents. Like that's supposed to be a good thing. Hey, Martha, and the rest of the mainstream media morons, you know how much that should be a thing? Fucking zero, you idiots.
Bitch!
Also, today on Monday morning, I believe it was morning or afternoon in Columbus, Georgia, Bill Clinton makes a campaign stop for Kamala Harris and decides to talk about the border and the Laken Riley incident. Who knows? Maybe he's even secretly endorsing Trump after what he said.
Want to attack Kamala Harris and blame her for anything they managed to keep from happening.
Really, Bill? Please, enlighten me.
They claimed she was the border czar. That's not what her jobs are. Her job was to go down to these other countries that were sending a lot of people and trying to get them to enroll them in a legal process while they were still in the country so they wouldn't be illegal.
So let me get this straight with all this logic, okay? She's not the border czar, but she was in charge of making sure the people that were already here illegally become a temporary protected status, and they already broke the law, and they're still going to be granted citizenship? Is that normal? It sounds like they should get the fuck out.
Legally trafficked, show up at our border, have to be cared for on one side of it or another, and then we'd run the risk of having people get in here who weren't properly vetted. That's what she tried to do. And we had some success with that, but those traffickers, they make a lot of money. So for the last 3 years, the Biden-Harris administration has done increasingly tough things trying to control the border. And the illegal crossings have gone down every year for 3 years.
Really? Illegal crossings have been down the past 3 years. Do we need to refer back to my old video, my older video? So I'm going to have it either right here or right over there. Check it out. You tell me if border crossings have been down for the past 3 years. Lies.
What a fucking dumbass!
I don't want to talk about, but that's true. And then President Biden called the Republican senators who seemed genuinely concerned about it. And he said, look, let's make a deal. Only thing you care about is having fewer people come in, right? And they said, yeah, we don't want them. And they said, well, there is a limit to how many people we can efficiently take. So I'll make a deal with you. I'll take your limit if you'll give me enough money to make sure that these families can stay together and no kids are taken away from their children. That's right. And that's right. If we do serious background checks, so the people who shouldn't get in because they're highly likely to commit crimes don't get in. Let's make that deal. So they made a deal. So Biden then said, you write the first draft of the bill. I trust you. You never hear this. And then Donald Trump hears about it. And he said, oh my God, we can't fix the border. What am I going to do for TV ads?
Oh, yes. That good old border bill, huh? Let's actually read it and check it out. So, follow along with me here for a second, okay? What's in the Senate? What's in the Senate sweeping $118 billion immigration and foreign aid bill? You notice how it's also a foreign aid bill. That was one of the biggest reasons why we couldn't stand the fucking thing in the first place, Democrats. Okay, we're not here to fund foreign countries who barely give a shit about us, okay? Number one, okay? So let's just go through the funding breakdown, okay? So you think $118 billion went to the border? Of course not. Here's the big one. $60 billion in military aid for Ukraine. Are you fucking kidding me? That's what you guys argued for? That's what you're saying we stopped? Or, they say the stuff that's actually helping the border, but if you actually look at the mathematics of the bill, it only sends, let's see, about $25 billion. So you're looking at less than 20% of the money actually going to the border. And if you look at the immigration provisions, it makes asylum seeking easier. And don't think this is bullshit. I'm getting this from PBS, of all news sources, just to show you what it is actually in. I did not use Fox News or Newsmax, just so you don't claim bullshit. PBS is pretty left. Let's look at this, okay? So here's the asylum provisions, okay? You got a new system. The bill moves most new asylum cases to the Department of Homeland Security. So instead of, getting a hearing by immigration judges, you will now be heard by asylum officers. Yes, making it easier to claim asylum. This rules for both the initial asylum claims and for most appeals. The idea here is there'll be a much faster review, often without attorneys. Okay. So I guess they want to make it faster to put new immigrants in ASAP. What a great border bill that is. And at a new standard, at the initial interview, an asylum seeker must establish clear and convincing proof they have a credible fear of persecution if they stay in their country. The standard would change to a significant possibility. The bill authors believe this change would result in the vast majority of applications being rejected. That's false. As you see, other new criteria earlier in the process. During the initial interview, the bill says asylum claims can be rejected if the person is a disqualified. Yeah. Okay. Like, how do they vet these people if their countries are not being cooperative in the background check process? They're not. especially with that catch and release program where they get released back in our country anyway. That helps. And they also get a court date 10 years out. You know, that helps. That helps them break crimes in our country and break the law. New detention beds and rules. I guess we need extra beds at the Department of Homeland Security so they can sleep. They can go back to their own country and sleep. For some reason, the exceptions are unaccompanied minors can be admitted through that new border bill. I don't want to see kids coming here to this country illegally by themselves. That is absolutely horrible. And look at that. We are now allowing Afghan refugees after that disastrous pullout. I think they should all live at the White House for the next few months, if you ask me, because they're the ones who caused that disastrous pullout of Afghanistan in the first place. So humanitarian parole, that's kind of interesting. I guess it makes it easier for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans to come through any port of entry as long as they claim asylum on the CBP One app. Wow. So there you have it. Most of the funding went to foreign aid. So let's see. Okay, so actually $70 billion, $60 billion for military aid, and $10 billion for humanitarian aid. Would you call that a border bill? I certainly wouldn't.
I am smart, and I'm self-smarted, basically, by myself.
Who am I going to demonize every day? I don't get into politics to solve problems. I get in it to create problems and blame other people for doing it.
Well, Bill, if that's the case, it's like the pot calling the fucking kettle black. I mean, how do you create mass inflation on a scale you can't even afford a house, groceries? But that's somehow Trump's fault, right? For COVID. Even though you guys organized the shutdowns in New York City all the way to Seattle. Okay? But apparently that was all Trump's fault. This is quite amazing. They created the problems, yet they still want you to vote for them. I don't get it. You know, the one thing about Democrats I've always noticed is that they are an expert at the gaslighting game. One of the best I've ever seen. Every single candidate, just look at them. They always blame the other side for what they are doing.
He learned from his great mentor, Roy Cohn, who helped Senator Joe McCarthy. Deny everything and accuse other people of doing what you're doing.
Oh, you mean like the Communist Playbook? Because I read that in the Communist Manifesto.
A new direction to manage an immigration crisis in a tough time where there's all this upheaval all over the world, where there are border problems all over the world, where millions of people are trying to escape the misery they're in. And other people are saying, well, I want to do what I can and take what I can, but maybe there's a limit to how much we can do.
Or my favorite thing you can do is tell them to go to fuck back and fix their own country. You see, it's amazing that for some reason we have the power to make our voices heard and stuff. Okay. What do you think Americans had to do in 1776 to get their right to vote for what they want and make their own country, install their own values that they ran away from England and European countries in the first place? Okay. You fight the oppressors. I'm sorry. You don't go to another successful country and ruin it. You have to fight for your freedom like we had to. Don't come here thinking you're owed shit. All right. Let's actually get to the main part.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
Well. He accidentally told the truth, didn't he? If they were properly vetted, Lake and Riley would have never passed away. That's who he was talking about in that clip. Well, guess whose administration is in office right now? The Biden-Harris administration. And if you looked at my video earlier and seen all those border crossings, you would know we have a lot of illegals in this country. I just want you to look at these numbers and tell me why this is allowed to happen. 13,000 murders, 16,000 rapists, and a total of 425,000 fucking convictions, overall convictions, and that's just 13,000 murders and 16,000 sexual assaulters. Out of a total of 425,000 total criminal convictions in the past 3.5 years. I mean, this is quite amazing. This is from non-detained, non-citizen convicted criminals. We have that many criminals lurking around, so much so that it's enough to create a small town and they can have their own government. It is quite pathetic. This is a mess created by the Biden-Harris administration because of their open border policies, because apparently, from what they talk about, it is a source of cheap labor. Let me tell you how ironic that is. For a party that says they're no longer the party of slavery from the Civil War, likes the fact that they bring cheap labor. Bill Clinton even said it himself, Apparently the birth rate's so low that we have to install immigrants. So yes, he admitted to you the great replacement theory. They want to replace us with a whole new culture. A culture that can be easily controlled. Fight for your rights. Don't let Democrats in the big swamp do this to your town, like Springfield and Charleroi, Pennsylvania. Don't let it happen to you. Fight for your rights, and most of all, never surrender. This is Eric. Make sure you subscribe to Refert Report and check out my past recent videos. You can see me flag waving and stuff with the MAGA Warriors. Make sure you give the MAGA Warriors a subscribe too. They're good people. They make their voices peacefully and patriotically heard. And guess I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you for watching this edition of Refert Report as I debunk mainstream media lies. I'll see you next time.